Hey guys, alright, it is the weekend after Thanksgiving, and we had company here for the weekend, actually for a few days, so I wasn't able to actually film a lot of what I did, but I did want to show you after we had our turkey and I cut the meat off the carcass for our dinner. I put the carcass and everything back in my roasting pan, my electric roaster, and then I let that cook for several hours, and then I took the meat and picked off the bone, and that's what these two jars are. And then I strained it and I let it simmer for a couple more hours, and I got the broth off of it. Now what I do, I strain it into this container and I let it sit for most of the day. And what happens is most of the fat will settle at the top and most of the sediment stuff will settle at the bottom. And then I fill my jars from this so that I could get the nice clean broth out of it. But then I took and we ate for 2 days or so. We ate the leftovers and stuff, and I took what was left of the turkey and put it in more jars using the broth that I had made, and I canned that, and then I just canned the rest of the broth for us to have on hand. On a previous video I told you that I was going to make my cranberry sauce that I turned into a Christmas jam, and I did film that, but what I figured out was, well, first let me explain. I do not have a really good camera, so, and I can't afford to go buy one. So I use the video portion from my phone because it's better than any camera I have, but it has terrible audio. So I have a cheap camera that has a really good external mic, and I use the audio portion from that. I put them together, so that's how I make my videos. Well, what happened was I filmed the whole thing and figured out that the audio mic had died. So I wasn't going to post it at all, but I told you I would, so I went ahead and edited it the best I could to try and make the most I could out of the sound for it. And so I am going to go ahead and play that for you next. But anyway, I wanted to explain, I'm sorry for the quality of the audio, but hopefully you can still see exactly what I did. And anyway, here we go. Alright guys, I told you on my last video that I was going to be making a strawberry cranberry sauce that I would then turn into my Christmas jam. So that is what I'm working on today. Tomorrow is our Thanksgiving dinner with family. I have my oven on so I can bake my pies. But while I'm waiting on that, getting that going, I wanted to get this going. There's my timer, or my temperature. I'm going to transfer this into this bowl so I can measure. Should be about equal parts cranberries and strawberries. So I'm going to put these cranberries in my pot. Alright, that was 4 cups of cranberry, actually almost 5 cups of cranberries. And the rule of thumb is about 2/3 of a cup of orange juice for every 2 cups of cranberries. So I need 2/3 and 2/3 is 1 1/3 plus a little bit more, so would be about 1.5-ish cups of orange juice. Alright, and then I'm going to let those cook until the cranberries start to burst. Alright, so now I'm going to add the strawberries. I'm going to let that cook down a little bit with the strawberries in it. I'm going to take some of that out and put in my bowl for cranberry sauce for tomorrow. So now I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of my calcium water. I'm using the Pomona's pectin, which is why the Pomona's pectin works off of calcium instead of sugar as regular pectin does. So that's why I'm using the calcium water. I'm going to take half a cup of sugar, with my 2 teaspoons of Pomona's pectin. With the Pomonas, you always add the pectin to some sugar and mix it up well so that when you put it in your jam, it won't clump. Mix these together. I like to add about an additional cup or so of orange juice. want to add orange juice, you can use just the zest off of an orange to get that flavor. This is just the way I like to do it. I'm not a big fan of cranberries myself, which is why I use this recipe with the orange and the strawberry to kind of tone down the cranberry some. Alright, now I'm going to add the sugar and pectin powder to my jam. Also, because I'm using the pectin powder, I could use as much or as little sugar as I want to. If you want it to be really sweet like a typical jam would be, you can add more sugar. I just don't like mine real sweet. I like for it to taste like the fruit. Mix this in real well. I'm just waiting for that to come to a boil. Taking my remaining cranberries, putting them in a quart jar with some sugar. I'm going to top it off with water. And I'm going to process this with the jam. One thing to note also about the pomonas is, like right now when I'm stirring it, it doesn't look like it's getting thick at all. And sometimes it can take up to 2 weeks for it to settle in the jars, to firm up. So even though it looks like it's not becoming jam and gelling real well, it probably will if you just give it a little bit of time. Alright, now I'm going to put this in the jars. And like I said, it still seems pretty thin, but it will thicken and set up. To use a little extra water because I have that one quart-sized jar in there and I need to make sure it's covered. Alright, as soon as that comes to a boil, I'll gentle boil, I will process for about 30 minutes. That's all there is to it.